Right. Hold on, you guys. We on live, y'all. Sunday, 6 p.m. We on live right now. So come on over to Mad Voodoo Man channel on YouTube. Mad Voodoo Man channel on YouTube. Come over here and holler at us. We on live right now. Come check us out. We're dealing with online dating apps and sites tonight. Come get the real numbers. One love. You tuned in to the Facts Over Feelings podcast. I am your host, the Iceman. More bounce to the ounce, and I say what counts. Don't nobody go home till the fat man gets it in. What's happening, chocolate people? What's cracking with you? If you ain't got it, make sure you go get it. My first book, The Game of Life According to the Iceman, Volume 1. Get it at asktheiceman.com, or you can get it at Amazon. Can you dig it? All right, y'all. We decided to kick it on a Sunday. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Please copy and paste the link to this live stream, and please put it on all your social media platforms. Can you dig it? We want to drive as many folks to the live stream as possible, and also make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're just coming by the first time, or maybe this is your second or third time coming by checking a player out. It's worth hitting the subscribe button and then hitting the notification bell to know what's going on and be in the know with what's cracking with the Iceman. Can you dig it? All right. So we is here, and we gonna get into this. We gonna get into this right now. Can you dig it? Okay, let's get it on. All right. Well, I have cats that they come holler at a player, and people send me emails. People send me text messages, say, "Hey, Ice Man, can you talk more about what's going on right now with the dating situation, because it's too complicated. Why is it so complicated?" And man, I try to talk about more political stuff than I do anything else. But dating is fine, but I really don't. I kind of want to speak to what's behind the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because the numbers say one thing, these articles say something else, especially the articles that are written on digital platforms where we know they just about making money. So they're willing to tell lies and not tell the truth about what's really going on right now. Okay. And so any relationship, all relationships are based on what? Leverage. Okay. They're a power struggle. People don't want to admit that, but that's what it is. And I'm telling you, the main people who don't want to talk about those issues are women, because they know if men start getting wise to what's really going on out here, what you think is going to happen? Men are going to start rebelling the way they are today. Okay, that's not by accident. Remember that. Men, look, people with common sense are going to wake up sooner or later. Okay? Well, hold on, man. I'm hearing some kind of like inclement weather horn, but I just want to make sure it ain't in my house. Wait a minute. What is this shit? that's coming from across the street over there. Okay, that's what's going on. Now, cause it's like, man, where's they coming from? And I'm like, well, they coming from over there. You know, I'm like, damn. Anyway, so the people who really don't want you to know the real numbers are these companies who own these apps and sites and women. Because if men knew exactly, see, you got to understand, young men are going to be on the Tinders, the Bumble, stuff like that. They're going to be on there because they grew up with that. Okay? That's part of their lifestyle. So if you tell them that, hey man, you know, you need to get off online dating or you need to get off them online dating apps, they're going to look at you like you're crazy because they be like, man, I grew up on this. So that's one of the reasons I don't just say totally abandon dating apps, because if you're a young dude and you're out here in these streets and you're just out here having fun, you just hooking up with people and stuff like that, hey, continue to do what you gonna do. Just make sure you protect yourself. Okay? And you know, that's on you. You know, I don't believe in running around here with no protection because there's too many diseases out here, and a lot of folks don't even know they got diseases. Those are the main ones out here giving people diseases, the ones that don't know they got one. Okay, most women don't know they got one because of their anatomy and physiology. Okay, so they might not know they got something for a year, or they might not know they got something till they get horrible discharge. And then, or some, you know, the smell gets so bad they got to go to the ER. And you know, hey man, look, if you don't know what's going on down there, I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. If you don't know what's going on down there, you need to go find out, because that's a foolish way to live your life, living by the seat of your pants with no preparation. Okay, that's what we're in the position we're in today when it comes to leverage, because men are just now figuring out that if we don't have the upper hand, we lose. It's just like when you play chess. I haven't played chess in a long time, since really elementary. I used to play elementary school. I don't really know how to play that well now, and I really don't have the time to learn. I play on a little game on this computer sometime when I'm down here, but I don't really mess around like that. Anyway, when we talk about you know, what's good for young people want a carefree exchange with each other. Look, I'm not dealing with we ain't dealing with homos, man. We're not doing that. Okay, we don't do that here. Okay, you want Bussy, you want info on Bussy, you got to go talk to Roland on that one. You got to talk to Swollen Roland, okay, or Andrew Gillum. We don't do booty politics on here. Can you dig it? Okay. We don't do rump politics here. Okay. Anyway, young men and young women, it's fun for them because they're at a time where they should have no responsibility. They either working, going to school, they're in the military part-time, they're in college part-time. They're at a time where they should be trying to figure out what they want to do in life, but also having a good time doing it, because that's how it was for me. I knew the main thing that was key to having fun was money. This before the dope game came to a black neighborhood near you. Okay. I understood I needed to have money, not just because I wanted to get girls. I was getting girls without money. But money, I knew was the driving force behind if I was gonna have a good childhood or not. And I realized, well, me and my siblings realized that we wasn't gonna get that at home. So we had to go out and start hustling. Now, we did our dirt, hitting the liquor stores and stuff, because we used to roll 7 to 8 deep. So you can't get all of us. Okay. So, and plus we didn't care because there were no damn Asians, racist ass Asians that own the damn store, all the liquor stores. We had no respect for them. Okay. But anyway, I realized this world ran on money. And that might have had something to do with growing up on the West Coast, because you got to understand, you have, women have been materialistic everywhere. Okay. But on both coasts, not even Miami back then. Miami didn't start popping until maybe 20 years ago. I mean, I'm talking about where it was where people knew that's where to go hang out, was in South Beach or going to Miami or whatever. Miami wasn't cool like that then. So it was New York City and LA. Okay, mainly the entertainment capitals. Okay, so women were a little bit different out there in Cali in the 60s and 70s, in the 80s and 90s than they were anywhere else. Because when we went down south, man, the girls was like, oh, where y'all from? Are we from Cali? Oh, y'all from Cali? Y'all so-and-so and them people? Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. Man, them girls are so damn easy down there, down south. I mean, not easy like giving up the draws, but they was easy to talk to and they were easy to get at. Because I know my cousin that live up here, when he was a little older than us, he used to go down there because my uncle was like, they had, they would date chicks down where my grandparents lived at. Because my cousin up here, he would go down there for the whole summer. We only just went down there for like 3 or 4 weeks and we'd go back home. But he'd fly down there and stay with my grandmother, and he'd be down there the whole summer. But anyway, you had to have a little swag. You had to have some swag in the 70s and 80s and 90s to get women in LA and even in the Bay Area too. You had to have some game, man. You had to have some swag. You know how to talk. And see, a lot of these young guys, let me say this to you. Guys, don't assume when I say swag, when I say macking, when you hear about it, I'm not talking about pimping. See, you don't understand that. You think when you hear the word, you got to have game, or you got to have swag, or you got to have this, you got to have that. The first thing you do is jump to conclusions that I'm talking about running game on women. Game is not what you think it is. Game is an abstract phenomenon. Okay, when we say game, we're not saying, okay, I'm going to manipulate this person. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to purposely look this woman in the eye and try to run game on her. That's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm talking about. Manipulation is not game. You're just a manipulator. So don't conflate the two, because a lot of people love to jump on my ass when I say game. Well, I was writing a book called Maconomics, and I talked to somebody, one of the friends of the show, and I was talking to somebody offline, and he was like, "Man, why you gonna name the book that?" I said, "Man, it gotta have some cat. It's gotta be. People gotta want to go. The title's gotta be interesting to people. It can't be, you know, the name of the book is We Gonna Talk to You About Women. You wouldn't buy that book, would you? No. So when you deal with the whole ideal of dealing with women, you got to have some kind of strategy. It can't just be you just winging it. Because when you do, she's gonna lose interest. If she was interested, she might just be being nice. That's why when I used to hang out with people, and I'd have a homeboy say, "Hey, Ice, hey man, see that chick over there that work at the such and such? Man, she giving you play, dog." I said, she giving me play. It's four of us standing here. She she throwing plays. She looking at you. So man, let's go over there. Oh, there's another one working back there. Hey man, let's go over there. So we go over there, and I'll be like, "Hey man, we're gonna play it off. I'm just gonna buy some cookies from the watch." And I go over there and buy some cookies, and then I sprayed it, wet the Jerry curl up, because I was like Ice Cube in NWA with the drippy drip. Okay. I was ready for the world back then. You dig? And I went over there. I soaked up the Jerry curl with some Stay Soft Fro, and I went over there and started trying to, put my Mac down. And homegirl was nice, but she wasn't like, yeah, I want to holler at you kind of. She wasn't giving them vibes like I was kind of, when I was listening to my homeboy, I was like, oh, this fool. So I go over there. I was kind of looking at him like, man, is this the right one? Because it was three chicks back there, but it was two black girls. It was a Mexican chick back there, but it was she wasn't attractive. Mexican women wasn't attractive back then. And it was two little young sisters and a Mexican chick. The Mexican chick was yelling out there, every time they had some dudes come to the counter, she'd come out and they'd be back there giggling and acting silly. So when I stepped the old girl, I started talking to her, and I was like, she said, hold up, I gotta go back in the back. I said, she gotta go talk to the old girl. And I looked over at my homeboy. I said, man, is this the one? He was like, man, I'm serious. That's the one that was looking at you. I said, all right, man, whatever. At first, I thought he was setting me up, because sometimes we used to set each other up like that. We used to go over there, hey, my homeboy want to talk to you. And then we come over there, and the chick would be looking at my homeboy like, you gonna say something or what? He's like, man, why she looking at me crazy? We told you was gonna try to holler at her. Man, why you tell her that, man? We used to do silly ass shit like that. But anyway, so I'm talking to old girl, and I'm like, damn, what's up with the vibe? I thought old girl was into a player. So I just bought the cookies and I just gave a general conversation. But that general conversation told me all I needed to know. I said, she ain't interested. It was like, how you know that? I said, dude, I'm just listening to what she's saying and how she's saying it. She might have said, yeah, she may have said something. That don't mean she want to holler at a player. And I learned then, as in high school and coming out of high school, post-adolescence, that, You got to be able to observe a woman's behavior or people's behavior, period. Well, this is to save your life too. You got to be able to read people's behavior without them knowing what you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be able to talk to somebody and read between the lines and really listen to, because people today talking cold, especially non-black people. They all talking cold. Most of us don't. That's why they always know. That's why the white supremacists always know our business, because we don't hide nothing. We all off in the mall talking about in this, in that. We at McDonald's getting out of school, in this, in that, talking all loud, acting stupid because you ain't got no home training, growing up in these single female headed households. But I'm not talking about necessarily that situation. I'm saying women, you got to be able to listen to what somebody says and say, this chick ain't into me. I've seen chicks, I've been by myself and seen chicks staring at me, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna go over there and talk to this chick. I go over there and talk to old girl, man. She's friendly, but she's not interested in me. Even if a woman is too scared to show you that she's into you, look, there's something about her that's gonna let you know she's into you. She's gonna do something. It's going to be her eyes, how she look at you. It's gonna be, her being extra nice to you. That's usually the easiest way to know. But there's other ways of knowing somebody interested in you without like coming out, hey, are you interested in me, dog? No, you can't, that's not gonna work, player. So when you're dealing with the opposite sex, you gotta know what you're dealing with. You gotta have a good idea what you're dealing with, so you don't waste time. I'm not gonna sit at a bar for 2 hours talking to the same chick and find out at the end of the night that she's married because I didn't ask questions. I would have bounced in. If not, matter of fact, I wouldn't even ask. I would look for that ring. I would look for that ring. Now, most women don't take their rings off, but some do. Some women do take their rings off. And but like I said, it's the woman giving you play ain't the only telltale sign that she's into you. But anyway, let's get to the meat of what we're dealing with here. Let me go. I was going to print this out, but I'm not going to print it. I'm just going to read some of it. I'm just going to read the pertinent parts, and the rest of it, we're just going to take the most important parts out of here. And I'm going to read between the lines for you. Okay, most single men and women between the ages of 18 to 34, 53% and 68% respectively, say they want a romantic relationship, according to a 2024 study commissioned by dating platform Tinder. I wouldn't totally trust that. I wouldn't trust that if Matches, because Match owns Tinder. If Match is paying for it, I don't believe it. I ain't gonna believe that shit. I wouldn't take it as gospel. Which surveyed 8,000 heterosexual participants in the U.S., UK, Australia, and Canada. However, nearly all respondents, including 91% of men and 94% of women, say they think the current dating environment is more difficult than ever. Duh, we already know that. Okay. The general state of the world is sensed as less predictable and less secure than in the past, says a psychiatrist. For some people, this lack of predictability or unpredictability and security results in a increased need to find a partner, while for others, it can create a hesitancy to make decisions and commitments. Let me tell you why that's total BS. Okay? That might have something. Look, the state of the world doesn't decide who jumps in bed, who you jump in bed with. Okay? That has nothing to do with that. And what they and here's the thing. See, this is damn near an ad they're putting in here because this is off of Forbes.com. Now the other one, the one that I really wanted to show you, they wouldn't allow. They wanted me to put cookies on this computer. I don't want no cookies on this computer. So but that one, if I have to do a part two, I'll just do it. I'll just use their information because that one in there, I should have just brought that computer down here. That's what I'll probably do if I can't do it the next time if I do a part two. So here's the deal. Now they said a lack of predictability and security. Look, people are not looking for partners. Okay, let me say that right here. People between the people, what age group are they talking about? They don't say. Are they saying the 18 to 24? The 18 to 34 statistic that they mentioned in the first paragraph? Or what are they saying? They're not making it clear. Okay? Nobody's looking for no more serious relationships, because if it did, it wouldn't be all this ambiguity out here. It wouldn't be all this chaos out here. It wouldn't be women making TikTok videos and YouTube videos crying in their beer, crying in their wine, talking about I'm attractive, I can't find nobody. And then as soon as they say I just got divorced, I'm thinking to myself, there it is. There it is, pal. There it is. That's what I needed to hear. Okay? This woman just got a divorce. And she's 27 years old. And she thinks that she's gonna get out just because she didn't have children with this guy. She thinks that it's still gonna be easy for her. But what she fails to realize, quality men are gonna ask, hey, were you ever married? She gonna be looking, were you married or not? Yes or no? Yeah, I was married for 3 years. Who'd you marry? Guy I went to college with. Okay, cool. Okay. Who filed first? Does it matter? Yeah. Who filed? I did. Huh? I did. Uh-huh. He has heard everything he needs to hear to know that if this ain't gonna just be a, let me make these booty cheeks clap. If ain't gonna be no booty cheek, no cheeks clapping tonight, I ain't trying to see her beyond the night, really, or beyond, because sometimes, there's things that a man can, an advanced player. And when I mean player, I'm not talking about somebody cheating on somebody. I'm talking about somebody that knows life, because dating is a small part of this. Most of this is leverage and who has it. That's why I put that in the description of this live stream. Let me say live stream. Live stream. Okay, and so I'm looking down. One thing about this article, it does list some information that I didn't see before. According to 2025 data from online dating platform Matches, Single in America survey of 5,000 single people completed in partnership with researchers from the Kinsey Institute. Like I said, this is suspect, because if the dating authority is the one, they're the ones paying for this survey. And they're the ones paying the Kinsey Institute and other researchers for they're the ones that's data collecting and doing data mining and doing all that stuff. They're the ones doing the real market research. Okay, Match ain't doing nothing but supplying the money. Okay, So you can't really too much trust this as ghetto gospel because they're paying for it. Oh, that's why whenever you see these Yahoo stories, look who's sponsoring it. If it's a article sponsored by like Forbes or it's sponsored by Yahoo.com, you know the information is suspect. At the least, it's suspect. At best, it's all a big lie. Okay. Now let me give you some of their stats. 46% of single people surveyed are ready for a long-term relationship. That's BS too. A small percentage of participants, 8%, believe that being single is frowned upon. That's probably true. Dating is expensive, with the average cost being $213 per month and active daters spending over $300 per month. What kind of dates are they going on? Are they talking to college students who are like freshmen and sophomores who don't have a car? Because I could see them spending even more than that a month. And that's just going to the movies. Because usually most big universities have movies on there. They got a movie theater on the campus so the kids ain't got to go off campus, although we did anyway. Anyway, $213 per month, more like $200 a date. In some cases, not the first, shouldn't be the first date. That should be a date where you on somebody, you with somebody you've been with for months, and y'all got a committed relationship. Okay, let's go down this holler. Now let's look at this. The same survey shows there's a certain amount of romance in there. See what I mean? It's words like that they lead you down the rabbit hole. 73% of singles surveyed say they believe romantic love can last forever. Now you know damn good and well that's a lie. You don't even have to be a statistician to know that's a lie. Let me tell you how you know this is a lie. You probably already know, but let me give you the clinical reason why you know this is a lie. 73% of singles say that then why is it that these people, and if we're talking about, now remember, they're not saying age ranges, which is another indication that they're not being totally honest. Because why would you just say 73%? Why don't you just say, okay, out of the 73% of singles that said romance is in the air, how is it broken down between men, women, black, white, Asian? Y'all see where I'm going with this? It's useless if it's not giving you specific information. This is how you know this is more of an ad than it is an actual article. Okay, 63% of men say they're romantic, as do 58% of women. You know that's a lie. Now that number of men might be true, but you know damn good and well that 58% of women is a lie. Otherwise, men wouldn't be grabbing passports and flying out the damn country. Okay? If 58% of these women, even just these women, said that it's about being romantic, you know that's a lie. There's no money talked about here. You know they can't. You know they're being disingenuous when they're not breaking this stuff down like the way I'm breaking it down. How many men? How many women? How many college educated? How many non-college educated? Blue collar, white collar. Because the actual article that I downloaded that wanted me to put cookies on this thing, they broke it down way better than this. But like I said, I didn't want to put them cookies on here because I do more than just do these live streams off of here. I do other stuff off here, and I don't want nobody having access to my desktop. If you're looking at people who aren't married, The way single is defined on tax forms, for example, about 49% of adults age 15 and older are unmarried. Okay? 49%. Notice when they said adults, they said 15. You know why they mentioned 15? Because they're making a reference to the development of the body and being at your peak. You know, when a child is 15, 16, 17 years old, they're going up toward their peak. They're not quite there yet, but they're on their way. They're talking about maturity sexually, but they're also talking about maturity up here. But remember, they're not going to tell you that the reason why they put that number age 15 down there is mainly because of sexual development and sexual peak. I mean, not necessarily peak, but this is when the sexual organs are working at peak performance. Okay, for everybody concerned. All right. Now, I want y'all to listen to this. If you define single as people who aren't married, living with a partner, or in a committed romantic relationship, that figure drops to 30%, according to the Pew Research Center. Okay? See how that, you see where that is? That drops way down to 30%. Okay, I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but let me go further. Now, this is when they finally start listing people's ages and giving you some detailed information. Adults under 30 represent the age group with the highest percentage of single people at approximately 47%. The next largest group of singles includes people 65 and older, with 39% being married. Okay, let me explain why that's the case. Okay, people under 30, obviously, they're at a time in their life when they're making their way in the world. Some are more advanced, some are not. And they are not in a position where they either want to get married or can get married. Okay. And then when they talk about people 65 and older, when they talk about that situation, remember, more people are getting divorced than ever before. And if 85% of women are filing for divorce, guess who's adding to a whole lot of these numbers? Okay. Almost 40% say I'm single. Then they're 65 and older. This I guarantee that number was way lower than that 20 years ago. But because everybody think there's some free lunch out here, we got to be honest. A lot of these women think that even at 70, if they get divorced, there's still some simp out here who's going ring her bell the way she want to financially. And again, nobody's going to pay full price for a car that's got 400,000 miles on it, three good tires and a kickstand. It's just not going to work. Okay. Let me give you another statistic. 63% of men younger than 30 reported they're single, defined as not married, living with a partner, or in a committed relationship. Remember, they shouldn't be mixing all these people together, even though legally they are single because they're not married. Because that used to be the way it was when I was growing up in the 60s. You know, you were either married or you were shacking up. You was this or this. And it was wrong. And you got frowned upon by society. Okay? Meanwhile, 34% of women in the same age group define themselves as single. See that? Let me explain. There's some meat mixed in there, fellas. You know what that means? That means that, remember, women will say they got a boyfriend even if they don't, or they got a boyfriend and they might and they might say they got one, or they might say they don't have one. That's where this is coming from. That's where this is coming from. But that's not the only part of this. These women are all, these 34% of women, most of them say that they're available. Okay? Whereas 63% of men are saying, I'm single. Okay? So the rest of these women are saying that they're not single. Okay? So you got half the number of women saying that they're single, and a little less than half of them are saying that they're in a committed relationship. Remember, we're talking about men and women 30 and younger. Okay? Which means that these women are what? Waiting longer to get married. That's what that's. See, they're not putting that out there. That's why this is more of an ad than an article. Okay, let's keep going. All right, hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, you can hit us on the Cash App. If you'd like to contribute something during the live stream, please, you can go to either one of those Cash App IDs, or if you've done business with me before on PayPal, all you gotta do is go to PayPal and go from there and drop something in the bucket for a player. All right, let's do this. Okay, the age gap appears much smaller in older groups. Now listen to this. For people 30 to 49, 25% of men reported being single compared to 17% of women. Okay? Okay? That means that more men are saying, hey, I'm available, and more women are saying, you know, a small percentage of them, well, actually, hold up. Actually, this is just 30 to 49. So let's deal with this age 30 to 49 thing. Okay. Now, by 30 things, you should be pretty serious about life. So we're talking about age 30 to 49. 49, you should be, you should be where you need to be in life, career-wise and all that. 25% say they're single. 17% of women said they're single. So that means the rest of these women are either married, or they're not describing, they live with somebody, or they're in a relationship, and they consider that taking them off the market. Whereas again, they keep vacillating between legal and just shacking up. You know what I'm saying? If you're not legally married, then you're this. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of dangerous. Okay, for age group, 50 to 64, people near my age group, 28% describe themselves as single. Okay? This is the 50 to 64 people. Okay? Describes them, 28% of those men consider themselves to be single, which means that's almost a third. Okay? Look, it says for individuals 50 to 64, it's 30% of women. See how that number went up? Between 50 and 64. See, some of these numbers are the same because I saw them in the other article that I was going to use. Now, this is pretty accurate. It says 30% of women say they're single. If the number of women as getting to between 50 and 64 is going up, what does that say? That means they're becoming divorced or they're just by themselves. But again, this article is not stating what basket that should be. They should be in. All it's saying is compared to 28% of the men saying they're single between the ages of 50 and 64, 28% of the men say they're single and 30% of the women say they are. Now that number exceeds the number of men. Okay, let's go down to the last one. It says for people 65 and older, 25% of men reported being single. 39% of women 65 and older said they were sick. See how that works? Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Do y'all see where I'm going with this? See, this is how you this is how you take this is how I take what they say on Fox News, and CNN, fake news, and MSNBC, and the legacy media channels, News Nation. These are the people. I take their information, economic data, social science data, and I put it together with this kind of stuff, and now I'm giving you the breakdown. See, this is what's telling. See, the crux, the meat in what I'm giving you right now is telling you what these damn articles not gonna tell you. See, this is how you know whether something is this is how you know. You have to ask the question, who's benefiting? If the numbers are going up for women and the numbers are going up for men, but only slightly. But the women, their numbers are skyrocketing. That shows you that these women are 65, 60, 50, and 65 and older, and they're still out here running around talking about, I think I can do better than you. That's what I'm getting at. This is why when you look at TV, you can't get lied to. They can't lie to you on Nightline on ABC telling you that it's a wonderful thing to meet people online. What they're not, yet they're telling you gross that there's this many people spending this amount of money. Okay? Belgium spends the most money on online dating apps and sites than anybody else. We spend the least. They spend about 3.6 billion and we spend about 1.4 billion. Now remember, a whole lot of shuffling been going on the last 15 years, and Match.com, Match LLC has been buying up everybody. They bought up OkCupid. They bought they got their own sites, Match.com. They got Tinder. They got POF. They got OK. It's a whole bunch of other sites they own. And you thinking you gonna find somebody on there other than somebody to, the only thing you should, now I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm just gonna give you I'm gonna continue to give the stats that are gonna blow your mind 69 times. Okay? This is how women can't lie to you, fellas. When when you get this is straight out the U.S. Census. According to data from the U.S. Census, the average age of marriage for men is 30 years old, whereas for women it's 28. Now that's a little older than it used to be. They were like 3 or 4 years younger. You know, I think it was like for men, it was like 26, and for women, it was like 20, 24, 25, something like that. But as you see, things have changed. And this is, census from 2010 to 2020 to 2020. Okay, so this is the stats some of the stats they're giving you. As of 2021, 25% of 40-year-olds in the U.S. had never been married, approximately a 400% increase from 1980, when it was 6%. Y'all see that? This ain't about dating, fellas, ladies. This has nothing to do with dating. I know the article is talking about online dating sites and apps. This is not about dating. This is about leverage. This is about leverage. This is about, at the end of the day, who has the most toys wins. That's what this is about. Okay? 40%, 25% of 40-year-olds in had never been married, a 400% increase from 6% in 1980. See that? Let me show you some other fun statistics. 90% of singles say sexual chemistry is crucial in relationship. Remember I told y'all that all that, you can talk about your Bentley and all this kind of stuff. Let me tell you something. If there's no sexual chemistry, and if that woman don't think she can get past your bad breath and your face, it ain't gonna happen. She's not gonna. Man, some women just have a little bit more dignity than that. Okay, but 90% say, I'm surprised it ain't 99. That sexual chemistry, guys, don't let this not get past you. I tell my dating coach clients, the guys, the men and women that I coach, as far as just strictly dating, but life coaching still has part to do with it too. Here's what I tell them. If you were going to meet you at a bar for the first time, and you sat down in front of you, what would be your objective evaluation of yourself? And at the end of answering all those questions, would you date that person? No, let me take dating up there. Would you have a relationship with that person, or would you have sex with him? Just leave it at that. Either or. If that question, lady, I'm talking to the ladies too. If you're not, I'm not saying you got, see, a lot of when I say this, a lot of women think I'm saying you got to be dressed for provocative and be slutty. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when a man look at you, can he look at you and can I picture me being in bed with this person? Can I see myself being aroused by this person? These are honest questions. And a lot of women say that don't matter, just as long as I took a shower, I took a bath, or brushed my teeth, I did my hair, and yeah, you look presentable you look presentable at work. Are you sexually appealing to the man you getting ready to see for the first time in person? That's where a lot of women strike out. I talk about this in my second book, The Dating Bible. Yes, I'm still working on it, and I'm on the last third of the book. It's a lot of work, man. Because when I get articles like this, I look for what I can use, but usually I'll read it and then I'll go find the real article, not this ad, because seems more of an ad for Match.com than it is for anything. Okay. Okay. Now listen to this, y'all, fellas. Listen to this. You better listen to this, fellas. Other important traits include kindness and empathy, 48%, physical attraction, 39%, shared values, 35%. Okay, let's be honest, people. Don't nobody give a damn about your shared values unless you ugly. Okay? The only people you notice when you look at TV and somebody starts talking about empathy and sympathy and all this kind, notice they either are average looking or below average looking or just straight up butt ugly. Okay? Because they know they got that, those traits have to come to bear because they can't use their sex appeal because they have none. They can't use their athletic body because they have none. They can't use physical attraction because they're not attract or their average attractiveness or they're below average. So they can't use that statistic the way those people who do have those traits, somebody that, because remember, 90% of singles say that sexual chemistry is crucial. And I tell women that true. And listen to this, I missed this part. 90% say sexual chemistry is important. However, with 72% of people saying they can gauge sexual chemistry within the first 3 days. Man, you might want to say first 3 seconds. If you look, you know that's a lie. When I can show you articles that say a woman knows whether she wants to have sex with you within 3 to 5 seconds of looking at you. Okay? Men is 5%. I mean, five seconds. Okay? But it's really about the same. See, it's important facts like this is why I want to put them in the book and make sure I explain this kind of stuff, because this ain't explaining, because this how you know this is a lie. 72% of people say sexual chemistry, they can gauge it within the first 3 days. No. Why would you wait till the first date? And there's no sexual chemistry. Sexual chemistry is about instantaneous connection, not about, okay, let's feel each other out after we go to, the Dave and Buster's 4 times. Man, come on. You're not even going to say you want to go somewhere with this person. If you're in that 90%, you're not even going to waste your time. How many times have somebody tried to holler at you on one of these dating platforms and you was like, oh, hell no, man, this chick is homely looking. She ain't got no body either. Because a man, he'll be like, okay, well, at least she got a little ass. Okay, I holler at her. You know what I'm saying? At least she got a little ass. So there's some sexual chemistry there. See that? 48% said kindness and empathy, physical attraction, 39%, and shared values, 35%. Look at that. I guarantee those ain't the sexy people that said they're in that kindness and empathy, 48%, and that shared values, 35%. Don't nobody give a damn about your values if there's no sexual chemistry, especially for a well-to-do man. You're like, man, I don't want this old flabby, this chick she might be a super freak, but I ain't trying to take them chances because I'm not interested. And once that man says, this woman is, not what I'm looking for, sexually, then all other bets are off the table anyway. Okay. Now we're getting down to generations. Okay. Let me run through this real quick, and then we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to my commentary. Gen Z, which is a lot of you guys, people born between 98 and 07, is considered the most sexually conservative generation. Really? What? Yeah, right. With 29% saying sex should happen after a committed relationship. See, guys, do I have to tell you this is not true? Huh? See, what they're trying to do is skew this information toward relationship. Have you noticed that? If I pull a real article off the internet that gives you the raw data and then gives you the commentary, they're going to here's what they're going to say. Okay, Gen Z people from 98 to 2007 is considered the most sexually conservative generation. Okay, I don't get that from dealing with Gen Z people of them being sexually conservative. Are they only pooling a small group of a small sample size? Because that could be the problem here. With 29% saying sex should happen after a committed relationship, that is the biggest. Come on, man. 29%, almost a third of them saying that y'all saying that sex should happen after a committed relationship. Really? 69% of Gen Z respondents say they're not ready for a relationship, even though many want one. People in this generation are most likely in the intention to be intentionally celibate. Let's stop right there. Is this Match LLC's audience? Is this their audience? These are the people they're trying to sell subscriptions to? People who are most likely incels? Probably more men, but there's women mixed in there too, because they don't say male or female. Then it says 49% of Gen Z participants say they want children at some point, which is lower than. Now that is true. That's true. Then that's mainly because of finances. Okay. Now they're saying millennials born between 82 and 1997. Most people, 64% said they wanted a committed relationship. That might be 52% of this generation feel behind in their life goals. Feel behind in their life goals, especially with regards to marriage and children. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And again, excuse me, a lot of these folks, a lot of that last part that deals with finance and the economy. Now, Gen X, people born between 67, 1981. I'm a boomer, so I'm not in that group. Is most likely to feel behind their life goals at 55%, especially when it comes to relationship. Now, what does that tell you when you hear that people that are 58, 59 years old, going down to people who are early 40s, because this is Gen X, 55% feel that they haven't reached their life goals, especially when it comes to relationships. Y'all see that? That's a problem. 55%. That's a lot of people, man. And remember, we talking people between about 41, 42 and 58, 57, 58, 59 years old. Think about that for a second. This is the main group of people who were affected by the boomers getting on welfare and the second wave feminism, was that the third? This should be the third. The third wave feminism is starting to pop up. See that? Now, it doesn't say that, but look at this. Here's why you know we're going there. 48% of this generation have been divorced. Think about that for a second. Almost 50% of the people who should still be married, 48% of them have been divorced. And we know that 80 to 85% of women initiate divorce. Now, listen to this bullet point. They use dating apps much less than millennials or Gen Z, and instead to prefer in-person meetings or introductions through friends. Haven't you heard? Now, obviously, the people who were born in the 60s are still in my generation, even though I'm still a boomer. But still, let's think about that for a second. This is some of y'all's parents that fall in here. Okay? This is some of y'all's parents that fall in here. 50% of people born when marriages and relationships should be the goal of people when they grow up, almost 50% of them have been divorced. And they prefer, because you hear me say, I prefer to meet women in person. These dating, I've used social media to get women. I've used dating apps to get women, but man, I really don't need them. I only started using them because it was easy, and at the time they were popular, and and most of them, didn't overcharge you. Okay, that's important, people, especially those of you who are over 40. Okay, and listen, and let me read this again. Most likely to feel behind in their life goals. So if 55% of these people that they're saying they fell behind in their life goals, what are they really talking about? And then you see this graphic, 48% of this generation have been divorced. So that means that these people, which are mostly women, from 42 to about 58, 59 years old, sat up here, got married, and then decide because of feminism that they could do better. And the myth that no matter how you look, you can have sex appeal. Hell, you cannot have sex appeal. As long as you got a vajayjay, a man's gonna want you. And then we look at this 55% number that says most likely to feel behind in life goals. You don't think marriage is a life goal? You don't think it is? And they failed at it? 48%, might as well say 50%. Think about that for a second. This is why, and I keep telling ladies this, if you want to run out here and try and thinking that the grass is going to be greener for you, if you really think You can be 38 and 40 and 50 years old and not have your girlish figure that you had in middle school and high school, and you really think that you're going to do better than these people who say 55% of us say we haven't met our life. We fell behind in our life's goals, or damn it, we just didn't meet our life goals. Roll that up and put it in your pipe and smoke it. Now listen to this. A Singles in America survey said 53% of singles reported dating burnout. Remember, we're talking about people on these dating sites. We ain't talking about social media. We're talking about paid sites. 46% took breaks to recharge. 64% say they came back with a clear idea of what they want. That's pretty accurate. But that number that should be standing out should be that dating burnout number. 53% of singles said that they have dating burnout. Okay, do you hear that from people that just mainly just date people, just, that look for people in person or ask friends and family to set them up with a live person? Because we know on Bumble and Tinder that a lot of those profiles are bot profiles created by AI, and they also and these are third-party firms that work with Tinder, because you got to understand, if they showed you the true numbers like I'm showing you right now, you know that it wouldn't be that many people. Think about it. Would you be on a site and there's only 5 people in your whole state? Huh? Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. How many times, those of you who are dumb like me and paid for, Tinder a couple of times, think about it for a second. How many of those profiles, or even the fake profiles made by Russian or Chinese criminal organizations or some other criminal organization, or they were bots created by under Tinder's under their authorization? Because you have to remember, I told y'all, if you get on all these sites, you'll see if you're in a particular city like Austin, Texas, if you're on Tinder and you're on Bumble, you're gonna see the same women. You're gonna see the same women. Okay? And then you see a whole bunch of other profiles, maybe profiles you might not see on either one. You know damn good and well some of those profiles have to be fake, because there's not that many people that look. I'm giving you the raw numbers. I'm giving you the raw numbers, people. And then listen to this. AI involvement. The same survey also reports 16% of singles say they have interacted with AI as a romantic companion, including 33% in Gen Z and 23% of millennials. 40% say having an AI boyfriend or girlfriend is cheating. Y'all see the madness going on here? 16% of people. I know it doesn't seem like that's a high number, but it is. Saying that and remember, if you go to CBS.com and listen and read and look at some of these documentaries they got on there, or you go to Netflix, or you go to Hulu and Peacock, I got all of them. Man, there's documentaries on there you ain't gonna find nowhere else. Okay? And they get into this, why you got, and of course, these are very unattractive, usually Caucasian females and males. These are people that, you know, look weird. They're weird people anyway. And remember, this 16%, these are people that are paying for this stuff because you know, it ain't like The Sims. I told y'all about Second Life. Second Life is one of the oldest, what do they call it? It's one of the oldest sites for people who want to create an avatar that looks totally different from themselves. Because they were showing these people, and they're all of them overweight white women or overweight white dudes. You know, those are the main ones that are online talking about nigger, 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 calling us niggers. Those are the main ones. And these are people who are disgusting. They stink. They probably have bad hygiene. These are the people that they probably virgins. So they'll go and pay. And you know, some of these people got money. So they can pay, you know, $100 or $200 a month for an AI companion that actually creates emails to send you, creates text messages to send to you. Now look at 33% Gen Z. Look at that. That's most of y'all. That's a third of y'all talking about you want to get with a romantic bot. And then 23% millennials. That's sick. That's sick. 33% Gen Z. That's most of y'all. 23% of millennials. You see how that number went down with millennials. Oh my God. These look, I'm showing you the raw data. This is interesting. This survey data shows that 63% of singles say there's more passivity in making the first move, as relationship dynamics are more ambiguous now. Let me stop right there. Remember I told y'all about leverage? And you notice women don't never want to talk about leverage because they know time and leverage ain't they friends, because most of the time they have neither one. Okay, especially after 22, 23 years old. Okay, their relationship dynamics are not ambiguous. It's just late. It's just we got lazy people out here, and we got women who think that they're cute enough for men to find them. And you look at their pictures, and they're either okay looking and they're homely and look like their hygiene is questionable, or they're not into you. Okay, they're not into you. And leverage wise, sometimes people look at your picture, your profile, to see if they can get leverage on you. That's what women do. Women who are predators, these are women that look for weak, fat, or you know, dopey looking weak guys. Then they read your profile and it's like, I'm looking for love, and I tried to go to Brazil, and I went down there and got beat up, and they hit me. Anyway, I went down to Brazil. I couldn't find anything. They took my money. Now you're doing this. Now you're talking about, and you know, there's their relationship dynamic. There ain't no ambiguity. There's ambiguity if you ain't out there. If you're really not out there mixing it up in person, then it's ambiguous, because Most people don't know. Let me give you let me give you guys a graphic. Let me explain this to you guys. Most people today don't know how to talk, don't know how to deal with the opposite sex. That's one of the main problems. Is you got people into their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s, and 60s, and they have learned absolutely nothing about how to deal with the opposite sex. You notice with men, when you hear men say, you got one group of men say, you need to have, man, being having dignity, having character is important. The only men that say that are men with no money. Because a man with no money knows he doesn't need that to get women. Y'all see where I'm going with this? When people and men who are on these online sites and apps who are looking for women to take advantage of, it's the same thing. They look, they see that you're talking about you looking for love, you're looking for love, and you're talking about, all this romantic stuff. What I think is a romantic first date is XYZ, LMNOP. You know what I'm saying? And that guy, that predator, he's looking at that going, oh, yeah, she got daddy issues. And let her say she's a single mom, well, all of them are single moms. 99% of them are single moms. They already know that, so they know you're desperate, even though you don't want to admit it. Now, this is according to a match survey, so you could take this with a grain of salt. 51% believe there's one perfect match for them. I'm going to go back over this, all of them, but let me just read all of them. 51% believe there's one perfect match for them. 43% think they'll end up in a picture perfect romantic relationship. And 41% of single people believe romantic media has set unrealistic expectations for love. Which one of these do you think is real? Huh? Do you believe that eHarmony and Match and all their commercials give you an unrealistic view and expectation of love? They said love. What they should have said of meeting people. Because look, I've met women on online dating sites who say they're looking for love, they're looking for this, they're looking for their person, and I meet that person, and not even 3 hours later, somebody getting dug out at my crib, and it ain't me. Okay? But yet this woman put on her profile that she was looking for love. What does that tell you? Okay? 51% believe there's a perfect match out there for them. That's pure delusion. There is no perfect match. But remember, this is on Forbes, and we're doing what? We're selling this. We know that most people are not going to break this ad down like I'm doing, because I know the real numbers behind the numbers. You got 51% of these people saying that there's a soulmate for them. There's no such. Did you ever hear anybody talk about a soulmate? Let me talk to the old heads real quick. When those of us in our 60s and 70s, did you hear back in the 70s and 80s that anything about a soulmate? You might have heard somebody say, oh, we compatible, oh, we get along. But you never heard nobody say nothing but a soulmate. They start talking that bullshit when the internet jumped off. See what I just said? Around the turn of the century, around 2000, when they know around 2000, when they noticed online dating was starting to pick up, because you remember, most of the online dating sites started out as something similar to social media. Okay, you could get on there, you could post a profile, and you didn't have to spend no money. Okay, Cupid, before Match bought them, a lot of those sites are Filipino Cupid, all that stuff was free. Then around 07, 08, 09, half of them started charging. They said, okay, we'll give you the first 30 days free. And then after the 31st day, you're going to get charged. So they started doing that. Now to begin going 5 years ago, who was still free? POF was still free, even though Match bought them. Okay? And then look at them now. There's no free dating, so-called dating sites and if there are some, they're either regional and they are small time. Because I had a black singles site pay for advertising with me when I was on Blog Talk, and I went, man, they site wasn't growing, man. I was like, hey, man, y'all, the platform was it just didn't look like something people would want to go on, and you can best believe they went the way of the dinosaur. 43% say they'll end up in a picture perfect romantic relationship. What moron out here thinks there's a picture perfect relationship? Romantic relationship. Keyword, romantic relationship. 43% of these people say that they're just as delusional as the 51% that say they can find a perfect match. If that's the case, then how come that divorce rate is so high up there amongst those folks from 50 to 64 and from 65 and up? How come the divorce rates are 50%? If this really can actually work for you, if this actually can work for us, then how come that number that I gave to you earlier is 50% divorce? These single people are divorced. When at 50, you should still be married. I should still be married in my 60s, but I'm single. And the reason why I'm still single and I haven't gotten married a second time is because I'm not giving somebody half my earnings. I'm not selling properties and giving half the proceeds to some ungrateful individual. I'm not stupid. I didn't lose anything the first time. I gave that stuff away. I gave that stuff to my ex-wife. I gave her all the furniture, all the beds, all that stuff. She got almost the whole house. The only thing I took was the washer and dryer, and I should have left her that. Because I got tired of hauling that damn thing around. I should have gave her that. Okay? But they sitting up here telling you that 51% of people think they still can find a soulmate, and 43% said that there's a picture perfect romantic relationship just waiting for them on Match.com or OkCupid. And then 41% of these single people believe that these commercials like eHarmony and Match and all these is setting unrealistic expectations for love. First of all, they shouldn't even be using that word love, because love means different things to different people. You can line up 10 people and ask them to define love, and all 10 of them will tell you something different. So what they should be saying is they set unrealistic goals. They are telling folks basically what they telling for. See, they're saying it in a nice way. single people, 41% of single people believe that romantic media has set unrealistic expectations for love. What they see, that's just a nice way of saying 41% of you mugs believe that these commercials about finding love online are unrealistic. Okay, and and let me tell you what they're really saying. They're saying that those people don't exist, because when I see a profile of somebody who's 50 years old, they've been divorced twice, they got grown children, they slipped up and put old pictures of them on their profile, and then slipped some recent pictures in there. And they think can't nobody look at the old pictures and the new pics and say, man, there's probably about 20 to 30 years difference between both of these pictures. Okay? Then on the newer picture of you that you took last year, that you got a gallon of makeup on. You know who I'm talking about. You got, because most of them are the ones that do that, them folks. Okay? And you look at the old picture, they ain't got that much makeup on and they slim. Okay, and then, but see the picture, the recent picture, they trying to stand behind somebody like you can't, get a good look and see, hey, that woman chunky. Well, that's why she's standing behind them folks. And I tell her, and I after a while, after I got burned a couple of times, I would send women message. I say, hey, let me warn you before we meet. If you don't look like your pictures, you better. I advise you to cancel right now before I leave the house. Okay? I may have had one or two that said, yeah, you're probably not going to be attracted to me. Oh, well, I'm glad you're being honest. Well, thank you for being honest. Because I don't want somebody that look like hell in the face. And you fellas, we all been there. So I would tell them, hey, man, hey, don't show up and get clowned, because the Iceman will clown you. But this 41% of these people saying that these people are putting out unrealistic information, and that there's some magic. Yeah, they gotta blow smoke up your ass and tell you to go out there and try to find Mr. Right and Miss Right and all that. That's how they make money. If they broke this down the way I'm breaking it down, you'd be like, man, come on, I would never spend another dime on any of these apps or these sites. Because like this 41% of people said, it's unrealistic. The expectations are unrealistic. Now now this is interesting. Now I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna go back. We're gonna go back to commentary. Now listen to what this psychiatrist says. Online dating allows access to more possibilities and is often easier when making first contact, especially for introverted or socially shy people. Let me stop right there. You would think that would be the main selling point for online dating, or that it was 20 years ago or longer. When we talk about today, there's a lot of fraud on these sites. Tinder, or because of Tinder, Match LLC is either getting sued or got sued by either some companies or some individuals that said that they feel that Tinder is ripping people off because they found out that there's a lot of prostitution. They went from, Backpage to Tinder. You know, they closed down Backpage, and now they own Tinder all around the world. Prostitutes, because I've tried to talk to women, and come to find out they ain't nothing but prostitutes, or they just selling videos of them playing with themselves or sticking stuff up in them. You get a lot of Dominican women that do that, a lot of Colombian women too, a lot of Latin American women do that, and women from Thailand, a lot of them do it. Then they'll be like, "Oh, I have an OnlyFans. You should subscribe to my OnlyFans page." I'm like, I ain't paying for no OnlyFans, man. What the hell are you talking about? About 42% of U.S. adults say online dating has made the search for a long-time partner easier, where 22% say it made the search for a long-term partner or spouse more difficult. Another 32% say it hasn't made a difference. I tend to believe that one, but I don't believe that 42% of these people say online dating has made looking for a long-term partner easy, when we know damn good and well the economy's messed up. These people say they look, from what I'm gathering from this ad, that these people are looking for nub. They're not looking for relationships and marriage. You notice that marriage hasn't come up at all in this article. Have you guys noticed that? Or is it just me? Okay. Let me explain. Let me go back to that first paragraph where it said, on with this doctor or whoever the hell he's supposed to be, online dating it provides more possibilities. Yes, it does. Now, again, this is why it was successful when it was free to, maybe $10, $5, $10 a month. Remember, online dating was not that expensive at first. It was only like $10 a month or $5 a month. I mean, how hard is that? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take a chance for $10 a month. You know what I'm saying? But me spending $20 and $25 a month, and then you're giving me a semi-annual or annual subscription offering, you ain't telling me how much I'm paying per month, because if I added it up per month, I'd say, wait a minute, that's $20 that I'm throwing out the door, and I ain't even met nobody. Now they say this is for people who have problems meeting folks. Most of those folks ain't on online dating. Why would they? Because sooner or later they're gonna want to meet you. And how long you think you're gonna have people cursing you out for playing games? Oh, I don't really want to, because I met women say, oh, I don't really want to meet. Oh, you married. That's because you married. Or you over there living with somebody. I'm like, man, get out of my face. So this whole thing about possibilities, more possibilities, yeah, you get more possibilities, but you get more fraud today. You get bots today. You get whores. You get prostitutes. And then the rest of them are women that have aged out. I'm mainly talking for because I put an age range from like 40, 30, 35 to like 47, 48. I ain't going above 50 to date nobody unless it's just casual. We just chilling, So we know, so we can look at this and see the cracks in the metal right here. Yeah, it does. That's true. It gives you more access to way more people, but the quality ain't there. The quantity, which is the more possibilities, higher quantities, you have access to way more people. But again, you only have a small, tiny window of people in your area that you're going to deal with. Because remember, you know, if you go back to like '02, '03, you could live in LA and be talking to somebody in Chicago on Black Planet or MySpace or one and get together and cut. I've met women 400-500 miles away, and because you know I was in them streets like that, I would go drive to see them, or they would drive to see me, or they would bring a friend that was dating somebody in the town I was living in, and they be like, okay, we're gonna get hotel rooms next to each other. So her friend's in the other room with this other dude, and I'm in this room with her. So that kind of stuff worked really well, you know. But today, everybody that got burned up. Everybody, man, a lot of these women done burnt these dudes up. A lot of these women done burnt these dudes. A lot of these women done burnt these dudes up. A lot of dudes done burnt these women up. And all that's really, and notice in this article, because this is a article that was written in June. You notice they ain't said nothing about marriage. They ain't said nothing about outcomes. Because when you do statistical data, you find if it's 0.50 statistically acceptable at 0.50, 0.5, that means your data, your statistics are pretty much okay. You get the thumbs up. Anything below 0.50, it's not statistically viable, which means somewhere in your data's off. You see what I'm saying? That's how you can debunk a lot of this stuff. Okay? We know damn good and well most people are not on online dating sites looking for real long-term partners. We already know that. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this disconnect and people complaining. Women, by the time, guys, when you hear, here's how it works. When you hear women complaining, the first women you hear complaining about men are the ugly women and the unattractive women and the average women. Remember how that worked? Notice, and the good-looking women weren't complaining about I can't find a man. Remember that? Remember when that? Because y'all seen that what's the name of that diet? That it's a documentary that a brother did. I don't know if he lived down there in Rio. I think he's part of a group of black men that moved down there. And he did a really good documentary. It's about an hour and a half. And he interviewed all these black women, all these so-called, I don't need a man. I got my degree. I got a corporate job. They interviewed all them women. And none of them women had anything nice to say about men in general. We ain't even got to specifics yet. They ain't have anything good to say. Then they interviewed all the black men while they were he interviewed guys in Brazil that were living down there. Some were young, some were a little younger than me, some were my age, some were older than me. And they talked to some of these men. Now, these guys weren't sex tourists. These were guys that worked at GM. These are engineers. A lot of these guys were college educated brothers, or they were blue collar guys that own their own business. Like there was one brother that owned his own electrical contractor company. He gave it come to his son. He retired and went down there. And these weren't passport bros. These weren't sex tourists like you normally get with a lot of these guys that get interviewed and they put on TV. This was before the passport bro BS started. Okay. All these guys said the same thing, but they said it in different ways. The young men said the same thing the old men, the OGs my age and older were saying. These women want too much up front. They want a down payment on nothing. They want you to put a down payment on no kind of guarantee that this woman is even going to text me back tomorrow. They want you to put a down payment on absolutely nothing coming back to him. They want the man to pay for all of this stuff. And one OG said, and then on top of that, they want all that, and you ain't even a man yet. You ain't even a woman yet, and they ain't even your woman yet, and they want all this stuff up front. They want some of them, some of the guys say, yeah, well, I have women coming at me with that I got a degree nonsense. I didn't even get the chance to say to respond and say, yeah, I got a degree too. You ain't, who are you supposed to be? You supposed to be a big deal because you got a college degree? So what? And then again, they were saying the same thing, but in different ways. And they said you can't talk to women, you can't talk to these black, because they're mainly talking about black women. They're only interviewed, they interviewed nothing but black men. So we obviously we mainly talking about black men and black women. And the black women, they said, man, you can't talk to black women. Black women are evil. Black women are mean spirited. Black women hate black men. They were talking about the same stuff we talking about 20 years ago or 15 to 17 years ago in that documentary. And again, the guy and guys was like, look, one guy said, this one guy, he's about 40. He said, look, I'm an engineer. I'm a computer engineer. I can do my work. I do my work in my apartment. And I'm not down here just to mess with a bunch of women. I did that when I first got here. But after a while, I stopped going out. I got one girlfriend right now. It's just me and her. All we do is go to the movies, we go dancing, we go shopping. She loves to go to, in these foreign countries, you buy your food, you can buy your food every day. You can, if you want fish, you go to the guys that's selling the fish out there, to the men and women selling the fish. If you want vegetables, it's like there is like a street bazaar. That's kind of how they do things in some of these other countries. So he said, man, I get up, man, me and my girl go down, pick fresh fish. We take it back. My girl, her sisters and her aunts, her aunties, her mom, her dad come up, and then we have a big old cookout. He said, man, I love hanging around them, but I do miss America, but that I'd rather be happy than to have convenience of being able to go get a sandwich at 2:00 in the morning at a drive-through. That's the only convenience that you have here. Maybe you can go to the hospital at 2 in the morning or whatever. There's some advantages to being in America, but socially, there are no more advantages, at least not for men. So when they talk to all these men, again, these were not passport bros. These were serious black men. Okay? Some of them, one or two were married. The rest of them just had steady girlfriend. They just had the same girlfriend. Okay, especially the older guy. They were like, oh man, the girl I've been with her for 10 years. I've been here 12 years. I met her 2 years after I got here. I haven't been with nobody ever since. He said, man, she's good looking. She's 20 years younger than me. She goes to work. It's all about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to have no children, but for right now, we good. We got a nice place. Compared the place I have here in Rio compared to where I'm from in New Jersey, this is a ultra luxury apartment that I got for, because when I was down there, it was for every $3, for every $1 of ours was $3 of theirs. So that's pretty good exchange. I don't know what it is now. I think now it's just 2.5 because Brazil's economy has improved a lot since I was down there. I mean, it was good when I was down there, but it's even better now. So they, Brazil ain't Mexico. They might do some of the same thing some of these poor Latin American countries do, like with the corruption and the organized crime and stuff like that. But their economic health compared, in the marketplace is pretty decent compared to everybody else. Okay. Now it said it says 21% of adults think that dating sites and apps could use their computer programs to determine whether two people will eventually fall in love. More of that delusion. But the majority of adults in the U.S. are unsure about this claim. 35% of people say they don't believe computer programs can predict love, while 43% are unsure. See, that's what we get. Remember I told y'all about AI? When you remember in POF, they have you fill out this 50-page questionnaire, and it's supposedly supposed to help. But then it sometimes gives you less choices than not doing it. You understand what I'm saying? Because you get people that put in their filter, I don't want to meet black guys, or I don't want to meet, this kind of crap, or I don't want to meet fat people. I don't want, somebody that's BBW. I'm blocking all them, because that's what I used to do. I would block everybody on there that was, because see, that's what the fat women would do. They would, so the fat women got hip, and what they would do is put fit, and then you look at or in shape or something, athletic. Then you look at their pics and they 2 tons of fun. Okay. Or they would say all that and not have no pics on their page. Okay, let's it says 34% of men are using dating apps and 27% on women. You know what? I thought it was different, but so almost a third of people in this country are using a dating app or site. 34% are men, 27% are women. For there to be more men on there than women, that's not a good look. That's not a good look, man. Let me break it down by how old these people are, and then I'm gonna go back to, or I'm gonna take a break and come back. Okay, 53% of people. Okay, let's say how old. It said 53% of people on online dating apps or sites are 18 to 29. 37% of people 30 to 49 on there. Ages 59 to 64, 20%, and then 13% for folks 65 and above. See how it goes down the older they get? See how that works? That'll tell you that of its efficacy. Because if you see a lot of people who are mature, 30 and up, 59, 49 and up, and if you see them doing something, if their numbers are higher as the people age, then there has to be a benefit in that. You see what I'm saying? Like it says, for people 59 to 64, let's use 30 to 49. It drops down to 37% of people 30 to 49 use online dating apps. Okay. For those people, the reason why it's going down is because of its efficacy. It's what is there a benefit? If the number, instead of 37, it was 67, And then when we got to 59 to 60, it was 77. And then 65 and up, 70%. If the older the people, the more the benefit. You see what I'm saying? And also, time is of the essence for somebody 30 and up. By the time they 30, they should be a grown ass man or woman. Okay? So basically, what they're not telling you is that, yeah, we might be talking about cultural differences, boomers versus Gen X, Gen Z, those folks. That has a lot to do with it. But the fact that efficacy has more to do with it, because if you got more people my age playing pickleball than, say, people 18 to 29, what's the first thing you're going to say? Pickleball is an old person sport. Not exactly. Because you got whole leagues out here with college age people on ESPN playing it. So it ain't just for old white people. Okay? The reason why you see an explosive amounts of numbers of older people over 50 playing pickleball is because it's low impact, it's a low impact sport, and it's a social sport where you can play with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? It's a social thing. You usually people play couples against couples and stuff like it might be 10 couples there. You see what I'm saying? So there's a benefit. It could be social. It could also be cardiovascular benefit. But you see that if the numbers, the older the people get, the higher the percentage of people that are actually playing pickleball. Does that give y'all a good sense of what I'm talking about? Now they say Tinder is the most popular dating app for adults under 30. 46% say they use 46% of adults under 30 say they use Tinder. 31% say they use Match. Match is Tinder. I think they own Match owns Bumble too. So that's why I told you, if you see the same women in your city on Tinder, you're gonna see the same ones on Bumble too. And I'm like, oh hell no. 31% say they use Match. 28% said they use Bumble, OkCupid, eHarmony. eHarmony's like, man, eHarmony is expensive as hell. Hinge are each used by roughly 20% of online daters. 31% say they tried another online dating platform. 79% of online daters under 30 say they use Tinder compared to 44% ages 30 to 49, 17% for 50 to 64. Remember that? And then 1% of those 65 and older. That's more of a cultural thing because Tinder is on an app and that's on a phone. And people my age and older, we ain't really like that. We really ain't into that stuff, gadgets like that, the way the next, the Gen X's are, or maybe. Although they did have computer stuff when I was growing up, it just wasn't that popular because it was expensive. Dating app users 50 and older are about 5 times more likely to use Match than Tinder, 50% versus 11%. See how that? See, they would rather use the site Match.com than using Tinder, which is Match's affiliate, an owned affiliate or a division. Okay. Because remember, older people would rather meet somebody in person, but then secondarily on a site like POF or Match rather than on an app on Bumble or Tinder. Now, this is interesting. It said 43% of those same adults say people have the right amount of options for dating on these platforms, but 37% think there are too many choices, and 13% say there aren't enough options. This is very important. This is a very good sign right here of what's really going on. It said 43% of people say that there's the right amount of options. Who says there's a right amount of options? What is because you have access to 30 women or 30 men? I mean, what the hell does that mean? Who said they had a right amount of options? Okay, that's weird right there. Now, the one that I think is really a good one, a good number to look at is this 37% think there are too many choices. I think that's more of a female to male thing than a female to male thing. I think that's women saying there's too many choices, rather than men saying that. Because ain't no men gonna say there's too many women trying to holler at me. I mean, no, most men ain't gonna say that unless they're retarded. And 13% say there aren't enough options. I believe that number is higher than 13%. I really do. I think that's higher than that because as for even if you're a black man that dates all races of women, there still ain't enough women on there. Now that might be an age thing, but I saw that when I was in my 30s too. That it was pretty much the same thing. Because when I was 35, I was trying to holler at women 25. I wasn't trying to holler at no, I mean, I did, but I was trying to holler at somebody younger than me, not somebody my age. So that really, for me, that's kind of neither here nor there on that. Here, I gotta stop. Now I gotta read this. Dude, now let me read this. The definition of success may vary from person to person. Remember I said that earlier? For some, the term may simply mean actually finding dates and meeting new people and having an overall enjoyable experience. That's me. That's how I judge it. I don't judge it by meeting people. I meet people every damn day when I go out. Don't necessarily mean I want to get to know them. What the hell does that mean? Okay? And which is why they were saying the difference from person to person, which I was telling y'all that earlier, and having an overall enjoyable experience. For others, it may mean that using a dating app or site results in a committed relationship. See what I mean? It means different things to different people. Some people can say that Tinder's fly because I'm knocking down 2 or 3 new chicks a week. You know what I'm saying? So for that, to him, to that guy or that girl or that woman, that might be success for them. You see what I'm saying? That's a success for them because they're getting the outcome that they're looking for out of it. So whatever money they're spending, it's money worth spent. Okay. Okay. Now let me read this. It says, when it comes to an overall dating experience, 53% of people who have ever used a dating site or app say their personal experiences have been very or somewhat positive. That they got to be mainly talking about white people. Okay, but here's how I know that. When I did research, when I was doing remember I used to do the super duper white guy. I used to do them fake profiles on POF, and I would show y'all pictures of all these broken down old ass broads that was talking crazy. Y'all, I used to have y'all. Y'all used to be cracking the hell up off of that. Okay. 53% say that they had a very positive or somewhat positive. I would venture somewhat positive. Very positive. Now we're getting into, okay, we couldn't be talking about everybody. We couldn't be talking about a great sample, a good sample of the population. But 46% say they have been very or somewhat negative. How many of y'all believe that? I believe that to be true. I believe that number is probably higher than that. Okay? 46%, 10% of partnered adults, those who married, living with a partner, or in a committed romantic relationship, met their current significant other through a dating site or app. 10%. Now, that right there ought to tell you a lot about a success rate. That 10%, they're not giving you, oh, this is just between men and women from 18 to 34. No, they're saying all the people that participated in this survey said 10% of them who actually got with somebody, or at least at the least, or at best got married, at least they are in a committed relationship. 10%. That's not a good selling point, but that's why this part of the article is way down at the bottom, because they know most people are probably only going to read maybe half this article or this ad, and they're going to get on like they've been spit on, right? Now, let me give you another thing, and I promise I'm going to get out of here. 47% say that on these online companies like Match LLC should require background checks. And women and older people are more likely than men to say online dating isn't very safe. Yeah, then why do y'all keep doing it? Okay? 10%. 10%. 10% of these people said this is the outcome that I got out of this. Okay? Think about that for a second. 10% actually married somebody at best, living with somebody, or they're in a stable, romantic, committed relationship. Everybody hit the like button, hit the like button. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button. Okay? And don't forget, who's this? You got Cash App, right? Yo, hey, just scroll up. Hey, you need to go over there on YouTube. You're a subscriber with me on YouTube, right? Well, go over, switch over there. No, don't use Super Chat. Super Chat I don't have that hooked up. No, if you got Cash App, there's two IDs at the top of the chat. If you go over on YouTube, it's at the top of the chat room. Yeah, go up there. You got it's one or two. You probably got the first one I got. Yeah, you go ahead and contribute that way too, or use you with me. You used to be a subscriber or something with me back in the day, right? If you still on PayPal, you can use PayPal, man. If you're already in there, yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you copy and paste the link so we can drive more people to the live stream. Can you dig it? And so as we can see, as you guys can see, when we talk about cost, and earlier in the article, it said what? It said the average person spends $213 to $300 a month on dates. Who are these people? There must be people with no cars, and they must be a freshman in high school, freshman in college, or they are E1 and they just got in the military, because those are the only folks that ain't got this. They spend only $200 a month on going out. Dating. So the net cost is gonna be higher than that. A movie's what, $15? Two people, that's $40. What about getting popcorn? Medium popcorn costs you $12. That's a medium. And when we say medium, that's what a small used to be. Because the medium is what the large used to be. Okay? Then you talking about, I ain't gonna just buy one soda like you and your girlfriend would do. You and me, all pretty much almost every girlfriend I had. If we went to the movies, it was like, why you gonna buy me my own soda? We just get one big one. Get one big one and we just put 2 straws in there and drink it. I said, as long as you ain't ain't no backwash up in that mug, we good. Because that's the only reason why I wouldn't do that. But so, and I'm talking about this in the dating Bible. The average date costs between $60 and $100. Now remember, we ain't talking about somebody skating through by the seat of their pants. We're talking about somebody paying full price for everything. We're talking about, okay, I told this chick we was gonna go get a drink. We went to a bar, went to this one really nice little spot in downtown Dallas, where I used to go. Me and my homeboy, we go there sometime. I take dates in there. So I took her. $25. That was drink. $25 you spent on drinks. Then she wanted to go see a movie. So that was $35. That was $40. Okay. You already spent $80. Because we didn't say, we don't know how much he tipped for them drinks. Then, we got popcorn. I wanted a bagel dog. We got a popcorn. We got a medium popcorn. We got a large Sprite, no ice. That was $10. Okay. Walking out the movie, you done spent $100 already. You ain't even got dinner yet. You go get dinner. The average entree, according to the National Restaurant Association, said the average meal at they was talking about, the fast casual, the Chili's, Applebee's, Ruby Tuesdays, those are considered 2 and 3 star restaurants. Okay. The average entree is between $15 and $30. Now, aside from the ghetto $10 TikTok videos and YouTube videos that y'all be seeing where the young brother sitting up there and the woman done brought her whole brood of children. Man, you know, this woman done brought 6 of her kids, and she think he gonna feed all them mother lovers. Okay? And I'm seeing dudes sitting up here. Why you gonna bring your kids on a date? I thought it was gonna be me and you. Well, I told you I had kids. Yeah, you didn't tell me you had 6 kids, and you didn't tell me they was coming. You said that they was gonna be with your sister. Now we ain't talking about those situations. I'm not talking about ghetto crap like that. I'm talking about traditional movies, bars, dinner, and the like. Dinner, you know she's gonna order something to drink. It's either gonna be alcohol. She's usually gonna order alcohol. Some of them will get bold and order alcohol and a soft drink. They be like, oh, I want a Coke and I want a mojito. And you looking at her like, I ain't tell you go order that. You didn't tell me I could order thank you, please come again either. Okay? Now, dinner is going to be $50-something, $60, probably more with a tip. No, it's going to be more than that because a soft drink is $4. A Coke is $4 at Applebee's. Okay? A drink used to be 80 cents when I was 18, 19 years old. But the drink was one of the cheapest things. Now the drink cost half the damn entree. So they gonna get a Coke, that's $4 out your pocket. They gonna get a mojito, that's what, $13, $14 drink. Okay, or more, depending on. I'm just sticking with Chili's and Applebee. You may go to Capitol Grill or Bonefish Grill, where a mojito is $25. You might go to them kind of places. Okay, I only take women to places like that if they my girlfriend already, or them cheeks that got clapped a whole bunch of times. Then yeah, I might take them somewhere nice. Because remember, you treat a hoe like your girlfriend, and you treat a girlfriend like you. Okay? So that dinner alone is $70. Because you'll probably get a water, but you'll at least get an alcoholic beverage so you don't look cheap. Or you don't, you know what I'm saying? Or look like you're trying to save money. Because you really don't want to look. I mean, you don't want to look. You don't. It doesn't matter if you're not gonna see her again anyway. It doesn't matter if she think you cheap or thrifty or whatever. Doesn't matter. But if we talk about doing a traditional date, you have almost spent $200, and all you went to was a sports bar, the movies, no, 3 places, and dinner. What if you go to Dave and Buster's? Because Dave and Buster's got food. I don't know if any of y'all go to Dave and Buster's. I thought Dave and Buster's food was whack. Man, their food is good. And they got your chicken fingers and all that kind of stuff. But they also have steaks and really, because I forgot what I got the last time I ate there. I've been there, a few times without eating there, but the last few times. But the last time I actually ate in there, man, I got something like a meatloaf or something like that with mashed potato. Man, that shit was good. It was good, whatever it was. So they can, you know, you can go up and Dave. Let's say you take her to Dave and Buster's after y'all go to the movies. The food gonna be about the same, about 60. I'm talking about what before tax. It's gonna be about 60 or close to 60. The games are gonna run you $30, $40 or more, because you know it might cost $1.50 just to do one game. You know what I'm saying? And I usually plates I get whenever I usually go to Dave and Buster's with somebody, we usually play till we get tired. And you know, that then maybe I may have spent $30, maybe 40. That ain't nothing. Ain't no big deal. If we had fun, be one thing if she was clowning and or had an attitude. That's one thing. So right there, that's $200 gone. One date. Your net cost is what? About $190. We ain't even said whether or not this is somebody you on your way to getting to know. Was this somebody you already clapped the cheeks a couple of times already, but you know, she ain't no hoe, but she is girlfriend material, but I gotta check her out a little bit, you know, but I already hit the skins once or twice. You might be in that category, or this is your woman. See, women want wifey privileges up front. That's why I purposely didn't say whether this was a late date or whether this was a date of somebody you just got with or somebody you've been with. Or is this somebody you just friends with benefits? You just clapping the cheek. You and her just clapping each other cheeks and that's it. You got to understand. It's a situationship. You dig? The guy who is trying to spend that kind of money up front, first of all, number one, you're a damn fool. Number two, when you take a woman out on a date, that's an investment. Are you really going to invest in a woman you don't know? No. You mean to tell me that you taking this woman out on a date like that the first time? Well, I make 150,000 a year. Bruh, what you make ain't got nothing to do with this. That's that argument of, Lil Wayne talking about it ain't tricking if you got it. Yes, it is. It's tricking whether you got it or not. And you sending the wrong message when you starting somebody here and you just met them and you ain't even clapped them cheeks yet. But you way up here where somebody is that been with somebody 5 years. That's where these guys are going wrong. When you spend money on a woman, it should be an incline. Not that you jump right here at the top of the heap. You jump at the top of the mountain. Where else you gonna go? You can only go down. And let's face it, I don't care what color you are, how much money you got, what your socioeconomic status is. Women know if you start here financially, the only place we can go is down. So the only thing you're going to do from that point on is disappoint me. That's why women know when to jump off that plane and pull that ripcord on that parachute. They know when to dive out the plane. Notice that? They know exactly when to bail out that plane. You sitting there oblivious. You done already hit her number because you started up here. The first date, you took her to a 4-star restaurant and spent $300. What for? You ain't even got the draws yet. This woman has done nothing to let you know you should spend more money and more time with her, on her. She ain't let you know anything. Yes, our economy might have uncertainty in it. What's even more uncertain is the way this whole thing with dating, how long we gonna play this game. Because the gender war ain't between black men and women. The gender war is between white men and white women. And we all get caught up in the bullshit. See, they know they couldn't have sold feminism to black women without Gloria Steinem. That's why that picture of Gloria Steinem standing up there with her fist in the air and that black woman standing up there with her fist in the air, that's why they put her ass up there. They needed to have a black woman as a mascot to legitimize the feminist movement. Because remember, the CIA and those folks came up with feminism. That was their op. Feminism, if you don't believe me, it's a psych op. Just like MK Ultra was, that they ended, the CIA stopped using MK Ultra in 1974. Y'all think, man, y'all have no, man, y'all think COINTELPRO is the only program they ran out of Langley? They had to interject feminism into, because of the success of the civil rights movement and Dr. King. They hadn't assassinated Dr. King by then. So they interjected feminism and made it look like it was about women's rights. And if you said you were against feminism, then you automatically said you're against women's rights. See that, fellas? They could automatically call you a chauvinist and that you against women making progress in American society when you ain't, because your mama worked. Most of us, even those of us my age, most of us, our mothers worked. They didn't stay home. They may have stayed home till we went to kindergarten, but after that, they went to work. They instituted feminism. Okay? And they masked it as women's rights. And they said, and they told black women, I got a documentary that I downloaded called Black Women in Welfare, something like that. It's called The Welfare Game. And it talks about how starting in 1967, they start interviewing these black women, and they were and asking them about what they thought about being on welfare and being in the projects. And this before it really, in some of these cities, the projects really got disgusting like it is, and like it was in Chicago. Pissy there. The stairs smell like piss. The elevators smell like piss. It was before that it got that bad. Okay. And what they did is they had to use the black woman as a mascot to sell feminism to black women. And you remember, feminism was one thing. That was the whole overarching umbrella. The most important thing was what was under that umbrella, which was welfare. They started giving black women welfare benefit, public assistance. Okay. And and that's how they bought off black women, was by making black women think that they had a chip in the old game of feminism when they didn't. But that's why you got to understand, optics are everything. Gloria Steinem standing up there with her fist in the air, and you see a stupid ass black mammy standing next to her with her fist in the air, legitimizing that filth. See, I break all this down in my second book, The Dating Bible. I get detailed with this stuff. Okay? Because the gender war ain't between black men and women. It's just that black women are trying to use a white woman's mentality in black circles, and it ain't working. And now that they don't have the economic floor that they used to have with welfare before Trump got in there, it's uncertain. Things seem very uncertain for ugly women, single baby mamas who don't want to work, women who thought they was going to make, Section 8 a career. Some of y'all that been on Section 8 20 years. 3 groups: disabled vets, the disabled, and elderly. See, single mom in there, anywhere in there. And if you get past that threshold, you gotta work 20 to 25 hours or more a week. And you gotta get the paperwork signed to turn into your worker, or your worker gonna get in trouble. Cause see, all the games that you used to play back in the day when my ex-wife and your ex-wife went down there and got on welfare because she didn't want to work 25 and 30 years ago, it ain't that simple anymore where you can get on welfare and they don't check anything. They don't check to see if you got a car. Now they do. They check to see, they want all your bill. What do you pay for? We want stubs. We want statements from your bank account, your checking account, or your savings account on what you buy for either 30 days or 60 days. And they're gonna look at that paper, then they're gonna say, you need to bring in, if you work, you need to bring in all them W-2s and all that stuff in. You need to bring your lease in here. Wherever you living at, you need to bring us a lease, or otherwise you have no address. Well, what if I live with my sister? Ma'am, you don't have your own place. Why are we gonna send benefits over there? Those benefits are not for your sister and her kids, it's for you. See, they're getting rid of the fraud. You listen to me. They're getting ready to, remember that economic floor that these women have exploited for the past 40 years? Trump got rid of it in not even in 2 days. He got rid of it in 6 months. Now they got to go work. No more. Oh man, come on, this little boy texted me telling me more of my damn line. I said, man, I tell him, come over, man. I said, hey man, be here at 11 o'clock. That boy be showing up at 3 o'clock. My lawn be done got cut already. I said, man, you cut your line off? Man, you weren't here, dude. These little African kids, man, they ain't got no sense of business whatsoever. Anyway, you see how that works? Y'all see how that works? No more economic floor. Because remember, we males, even white males, don't have an economic floor. Okay? Maybe some of the ones that's, within the white, the WS machine. But those that are not, that ain't got access to capital, okay? Yes, 62% of people that's on welfare are Caucasian. Yes, that's true. That is true. But we stay on it longer for obvious reasons because of our economic situation in this country. But remember, when my ex-wife got fired off her teaching job and went down there to get hired, to go down there to get on welfare, I found out that her worker was a single mom. They didn't have to turn. She didn't have to turn in shit. They built a brand new affordable housing apartment complex, brand new, 3 and 4 bed. I mean, huge 3 or 4 bedrooms. My ex-wife got in there before everybody else did. How was that? See how them workers be hooking their ass up? They tell them how to get over on you. They tell you how they can get over. They tell them women how they can get over on us, how they can apply they can have a cell phone, they can have cable. Back in the 70s and 80s, you couldn't have cable. You couldn't have a car and be on welfare. You couldn't have a toaster. You couldn't have a stereo. You had to hide your stereo. You couldn't have a ice box. That's what they called it when I was a kid. Sometimes that's all that was in there was a big old piece of ice, big old block of ice. Okay, before they start making the electric ones. Okay, that's what that. Our first refrigerator was a real ice box. Okay, you couldn't have a fridge, and number one, you couldn't have a man in the house. And now when they were interviewing some of these women back in the 60s about this, they was telling these women, hey, well, you if you get welfare, you can't have no man now. You know, some of them was like, well, you know, there's no big deal. Men are optional, except for getting them pregnant so they can get some money, so they can use the children as pawns. See, Trump changed all that. Somebody, from what I heard, there's supposed to be some child support bill that Trump's working on, because he just signed a executive order that if you're a veteran and you get behind on your mortgage, they can tack those. Like, say if you behind 90 days, they can tack those 3 months you didn't pay to the back of the mortgage. You gonna sell the house before then anyway. Who stays in their house for 30 years anyway? Okay. I've heard something like, but I haven't heard it for. I haven't heard that that was the case for real. Like I said, I just heard that might be something Trump is working on. Like I said, I don't talk about anything unless I can confirm it. So anyway, so when women, as I was talking to you, if you guys tuned in earlier when I first came online, remember, the numbers tell you the true story, but the devil's in the details. And like I was talking to y'all earlier about what it's just like voting for nothing. You're not gonna vote for nothing, are you? Most black folks under 50 are done doing that. They're done giving the Democrats a free vote and not get anything in return. Well, it's the same thing with these dating apps and dating sites. Are you going to pay Tinder $200 a year, and the outcome, there's no positive outcome for you? You know, as if you're a young guy, you're not hooking up with women on there like you think you should be, or you're not getting good, you're not getting good options for girlfriends. These women are not girlfriend material. Most of these women are thoughts. They're either homely thoughts or they're provocative thoughts, but they're all thoughts. And that's another reason why men are probably saying that dating apps and dating sites are not worth their money. Because again, why would you give somebody $150 for nothing? See, that's the way they fool people. And they make people think that spending that $200 a year, they're actually getting something. If you're not actually meeting quality people for sex or for a relationship and sex, then you're wasting money. If you're on there just to meet draws and get thoughts and meet thoughts on there to get draws, then you're getting your return on investment. Well, not if you tricking. Now, if you tricking, you paying $1,000 an hour for some woman's time. Now you a trick. Because you shouldn't have to spend $1,000 an hour to get draws. There ought to be somebody on this planet who is willing to have sex with you. So as you can see, the question that and remember, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just giving you the information. What you could do with it, with what you you could do with it what you wish. But I'm just giving you the truth. And the truth is that the cost of dating versus the return on investment, ROI. Are you getting your money's worth? That's the question that you get, and only you can answer that. I can't answer it. Even if I knew your finances and I knew you personally, I still couldn't give you the exact answer that you really need to hear. Only you can make that decision whether or not this is right for me. Am I spending money on POF? If me paying, whatever the packages they have, I haven't been on there, so I don't know. And then on top of that, they want to get your number, they want your phone number, they want access to your devices, because they could see in case you end up being some kind of creep or criminal, they want to be able to track you. Well, you ain't tracking me like that, so you can go to hell in a handbasket. Okay, you ain't getting all my information. If I can't stay anonymous, y'all can eat a fat one, because you ain't getting none of my cash. Real talk. But the average date, and when I say official, I gave you the numbers. Is that a number you want to come off of every time you get in your car to go pick somebody up or meet somebody at Dave and Buster's or AMC Theater or Alamo Draft House Cinema, or wherever you go to get, what watering holes you go to? Are you getting, see, when you 22, 23 years old, you just happy to be drinking. So it's no big deal if you spend all your money on beer because you're young. You just getting out there. But somebody 40 years old supposed to be beyond that. Somebody spend money on these alcoholic beverages for these people. What did that get me? What return on investment did I get? I can't speak for the Iceman, but I can speak for myself. What kind of return on investment did I get? If the numbers don't add up, you got to ask yourself, why am I spending money on this? Because remember, I told you, what they're not telling you in those numbers I gave you earlier is that they're not telling you that a lot of those are fake profiles, especially overseas. They're fake profiles. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you the success rate. I gave you some numbers, but they don't. But you got to sit down and read these articles yourself, because I'm only going to take a snapshot of what I read and give it to you. I'm not going to sit here for 100 hours telling you guys what's going on. That don't even make sense. So you need to know, what is the cost? What is this costing me? What am I getting out of it? I took 5 women out this week, and I ain't heard back from none of them. What are they telling you, dude? There's something about you that them women don't like. What is it? Is it your breath? Is it your personal hygiene? Is it the way you dress? Is it the fact that you're not, you're kind of flabby? You got a dad bod and you ain't got no children? You don't like to work out? Your energy is off? A lot of people, a lot of men, they kind of bristle at when I say about their energy. If you seem too laid back, I'm laid back. There's nothing wrong being laid back, but you can be laid back and still be energetic. If you just totally just laid back and your conversation is slow coming and you seem like you got slow wit, is that what's turning them women off? Is that what's turning them off? It could be. A lot of guys don't want to look in the mirror. What is the cost? What is the hidden cost or the net cost of dating to you? And only you know that. Because I can tell you right now, I don't know of anybody that's even dating the same woman, if that's their girlfriend, that they only spending $200 a month. Because you both going wherever you're both going in there. So it ain't just what you spend on her, it's what you spend on yourself. It's gas to get there, paying for parking. That got to come out your pocket. So you're incurring all these different costs. But what is the benefit to you? What is the return on investment to you? What am I getting out of this? Am I wasting my time with this woman? That's why the first book you need to buy is this one. I start the first part of that in here. So when I put the dating Bible out, you should get this one first, because this one is going to set you up for the dating Bible. Okay? I get into some of that in here, but it's mainly a snapshot. But the dating Bible is going to be all about leverage and dating, dealing with the opposite sex. You dig? If you don't mind, please contribute something today. You can contribute on PayPal, or you can contribute on Cash App. Just go to the top of the chat room to get the IDs, y'all. Can you dig it? That's gonna do it for the night for the Iceman. I'm gonna go on up here and eat a little something and watch a little TV. I hope that you guys got some game. Hope we chopped up some good game tonight. Hope you guys got some good information out of this, because we all need to be informed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna holler at y'all. Holler at your boy.